Hello and welcome to Transmission. I'm Nate, and tonight I'm joined by Dale. Welcome.
Yes. Welcome. Thank you.
So welcome to Transmission. So look, let's talk a little bit about you, if that's okay. Is that all right?
To you.
Yeah, as opposed to me. I prefer it that way.
Okay. Yep.
So identify as a male, as a trans guy, as a...
It's hard. I suppose I out in society, people just look at me as like any other guy. But I suppose because it's become very popular to be trans, I'd have to be a trans guy.
Has it become popular?
It has. It's become very trendy to be trans, and that's our next T-shirt.
Yep.
But yeah, I suppose to get the word through to the people and to educate people, you have to come out and say you're trans. Because I could sit here all night and say I'm just an ordinary guy and I don't know why I'm here, and people would believe it.
Yeah.
But that's not the case. So I'm female to male trans. The person.
And so how long have you sort of been on that sort of your...
All my life. I knew that things weren't right at primary school, and I made a ward of state because I kept insisting that I was a boy, and mother couldn't cope with it, so she made me a ward of state, and the government couldn't cope with it and put me on all these silly programs about wearing dresses and cuddling men and stuff, but it just always stayed with me. So I'd have to say I've had gender dysphoria all my life. Yeah.
And so, I mean, because sort of going back a little bit of time, I suppose, so made a ward of the state, and what sort of programs did they try and...
Well, they didn't have any, so they made them up as they went along in the 70s, and basically, yes, to get men to cuddle me. I mean, they confused me with a lesbian, and I wasn't, and I kept saying I wasn't. So the staff were just as confused. So some of the top minds of Melbourne or whatever thought they knew what was going on, and thought you fix gender dysphoria by making the person wear the clothes appropriate to their gender and force them to do it day in, day out. Just makes it worse. Just makes you more rebellious and more angry. So had to live through all that. And of course, every time they turned their back, I'd go and do what I liked.
Yeah.
So football shorts under dresses was the call of the day, really, for me. But yeah. So you just... Because I had the freedom of being a ward of state and I lived on the streets, no one cared. I had no siblings or family or anything. So I got away with doing a lot of stuff that your average person couldn't do. I knew people, Fitzroy Street. I was there when with the women, with the male to female transgender people, with the women, lay girls, Bojang, all that. Yeah. So I grew up with transgender, really.
Yeah. So you almost grew up within sort of a trans sort of community in itself when it wasn't something that was really talked about or so much known.
Underneath all the drugs and alcohol, there was trans. Yeah, I mean, a lot of people were gay. The gay clubs were just starting out. You had to know somebody who knew where it was and up elevators. And I mean, we just had the tasty apology. And I was very lucky because I didn't go that night. But I would have been the only guy in the room, sort of trans guy in the room, I'm sure. A few butch lesbians and what have you. But it was underneath the alcohol, the drugs, the heroin and all that. Underneath, there was a whole lot of people surviving in their gender as they saw it and inappropriate to society. So we were this shadowy world. But of course, the main thing about transgender, being a transgender, you've got to look after yourself health-wise. You can't do the drugs, you can't do the alcohol. If you want to get to the end of it and have a good sort of outcome, you can't abuse your body. You need all the liver you can get.
It's true, because most of the hormones and stuff are...
Yeah, it's really rugged on your body, so you really need to be of good health. And I don't think that message is getting through. You can't do heroin and do the changes, we call it.
Yeah. So, I mean, when you started taking testosterone and things would have been a lot different than they are.
They were tablets. They were tablets. So I had a choice: alcohol, good time with friends, or tablets. And they do your liver. They do. That's why we don't have them anymore. So, but they were easily swappable. There was. I had my Make Me a Girl tablets given out, and some of the women had their Make Them a Boy tablets, and we just swap. So so I was on and off hormones a long time until the program officially accepted that the gender dysphoric hormone gene was not on the Y chromosome. Once that happened, life got better for us. So that was early 80s somewhere. Yeah.
So because there was the assumption that there was M to F, but there was nothing really.
No, it was a male thing. It was an English politician male thing to throw on a frock. That women wouldn't do it. They were just butch lesbians, confused.
Yeah. So I mean, I suppose you would have seen a lot of change within the community, a lot of change with sort of everything going through the last, few decades. In terms of, because I mean, most people walking down the street would just look at you and just go, oh yeah, just guy,
Another guy, yeah.
Have you ever had any problems with that, with people just saying, oh yeah, you're just a guy, or?
I think a problem that we all have, but I experience it. I hate being an oddity, an amusement, and I say to somebody who doesn't know me too well, oh yes, I'm transgender, and they go, yeah, right, and we've all got to grow old. I mean, transgender doesn't mean Peter Pan go young.
Yeah,
we've all got to grow old, and old men look like me, but yeah, convincing, not that I have to convince people, I say I am, but medical people, I say, hold on, this is my medical history, and they either run away or they go, oh yes, and ask these inappropriate questions. Yeah, it's the inappropriate questions, oh, did you stick that beard on? Yeah, this morning, inappropriate questions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you stick that beard on?
Of course.
Because I'm just thinking that, maybe I should go where you're going.
Yeah.
to get that one done.
Yeah. I always think, grow it, auction it, grow it again, auction it off.
Yeah. Why not? How long has it taken you to get that?
I shaved Christmas.
Okay, so a few good months.
Yeah.
And when did you first start to sort of get that, This is personal curiosity, obviously.
Well, you just go through puberty twice.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter what time in your life you do it, you go through puberty once. I sort of didn't do puberty once very well at all. But as soon as you take the opposite gender hormones, you've got to do the 7 years. So I think it takes a good 7 years for a guy to grow a beard. So yeah, I'm pretty lucky. I've got the genetics to grow a beard. Yeah. Not every guy, whether they're trans or otherwise, can grow a beard. It's all in your genes. So, yeah, I'm pretty fast growing fur.
Yeah.
But, I suppose in my early 20s I always had at least a moustache and the sideys. And, of course, what's that show, 90210? Oh, that had a big influence.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Look, unfortunately, we're running out of time.
We are.
But thank you so much for coming on and sharing a little bit of your story.
No worries.
So big thanks to Dale. You've been watching Transmission.
Welcome back to Transmission. Trans people are often required to get all sorts of professional advice, but right now we are going to hear trans people giving the advice.
What tips would you give to a young person who isn't totally comfortable with the gender they were assigned at birth?
I'd sort of, just sort of try little things out, do it bit by bit, and just see what you feel comfortable with. And, if things really are bringing up some feelings in you that, you can't work out or are, quite confronting, I'd go talk to someone and talk to someone you feel really comfortable with. Firstly, you don't have to go straight to a medical professional, but someone close in your life you can trust.
Probably counselling, but not necessarily professional counselling, but like just to talk things over with whoever they feel comfortable with talking things over with, to consider where they're coming from, and that you don't have to do everything all at once. You don't have to decide right now I'm going to be a trans man or I'm going to be a trans woman. You could just be genderqueer, or you could just be a woman who wears pants, or whatever it is. You know, it doesn't have to be super defined and instant, and it's not a hurry.
I think I'd tell the kid, you can be whatever you want to be, and I'd probably get down with that parent and say, you better let them be whatever they want to be.
Do what makes you happy. Don't try to overdo masculinity or femininity. Don't try to overdo it. Just do what makes you happy. Ignore people who say that you can't sit somewhere in the middle, and just try to be yourself, because that's all you can be in this world.
What tips would you give to a young person who isn't totally comfortable with the gender they were assigned at birth?
I would tell them just to be themselves. Don't try and label yourself. Don't try and fit into any particular box. If you don't feel particularly male or female, then you don't have to be. The gender spectrum is completely fluid. You can sit anywhere on there, wherever you like, and just go crazy with it. Just have some fun, find out who you are.
What tips would you give to a young person who isn't totally comfortable with their gender?
What tips I should give them?
Tips.
Oh, sorry.
Tips. Tip.
Accept yourself for who you are and don't feel bad about who you are, pretty much. So, yeah.
I would love to encourage all young people to be free to explore their gender, to have the courage to work through the issues, find somewhere where they can get some help if they need it. There's a huge amount on the internet which didn't exist when I was young. I think it is tragic that so many people feel prevented from exploring their gender and being themselves.
I could be controversial and say, wait. Think, talk to lots of people, experiment a bit. I would suggest they live life and protect themselves with good friends and family of their choice while they decide what they think is really happening, because it can be extremely difficult to work it out. Strangely, none of us get born and say, oh, I'm a trans kid. Yeah, it's just not out there. You don't even think it. So it can be hard. It can be hard to work it out. Don't rush.
I think some of the most important things is, for me, is, it's okay to have these feelings about feeling like your gender might be different, or you might be questioning your gender identity. That's okay and that's normal. It's a lot of people think it's not okay, but it really is. It's not just okay, it's awesome.
Probably to, go and see a professional and talk through some of the issues if you have no friends or that you can actually talk about that issue with, so you can unpack what it means. I think that's mainly it. Just talk about what's going on, and then usually you find that you will meet a person who can put you on to someone else who can answer those questions, so it's starting to have the conversation.
I would say that was once me, and I am no longer dysphoric about any part of my body at all. I used to hate my body. I used to hate showering. I used to hate mirrors. Now I've gotten to the point where I am so comfortable with my body that I have no dysphoria, and I wouldn't change any part about it at all. Maybe I might want to tone up a bit more, gain some more muscle, or lose a bit of fat, but who doesn't these days? That's common. So just hang in there. I was once you, and it's better now.
find a safe link in the network. I know there aren't multitudes of services everywhere, particularly, say, beyond inner metro Melbourne and inner metro Sydney, for example, but tap into just that one link in the chain somewhere there is a resource such as Transcend or whatever, and just getting that one foot in the door, in the right door, I think is the way to go from there. And then you'll find there are lots of people to tap into once you're there.
Well, first of all, I think a tip would be to start loving yourself. I think being trans, we grow up not feeling comfortable looking at ourselves in the mirror and creating a cycle of self-hatred. And I think we have to be really gentle on ourselves, and no matter what our body is and who we are, we need to love that and see the beauty in that and be patient and gentle. And if a young person is questioning their gender, I'd probably say take your time. There's no stress, no pressure. There's no hard and fast decision that anyone has to make, and you don't have to stick to it. It's okay to experiment. It's completely normal, and you're not a freak. You know, everyone is beautiful, not a freak. Unless they want to be a freak, then maybe you're a freak.
I would probably say to them, talk to others that have gone on the journey already. Just talk, and then figure it out slowly.
And at the end of the day, I think transgender people are really cool and awesome people. And
I agree.
And I like to always have that message, because there's so much negative stuff out there, and I think we're really just beautiful, awesome people. That's the main thing.
Hey, that was cool. We'll see you after the break.
Welcome back to Transmission on Bent TV. I'm Sammy Cameron, and today we're talking about minorities. Joining me today are Lou, Danii and Millaa. Thank you for joining us today.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
As trans, we already represent a tiny minority of the population, but not being white, binary or opposite sex attracted makes us an even smaller proportion of the population. How does this intersection of being a member of more than one minority group affect us and the people around us? Minorities who are discriminated against often discriminate against other groups, especially smaller groups. Is there a problem with some LGBT groups or individuals discriminating against others?
I think there is. I think it just makes more confliction and makes more things sort of fragment, doesn't it? If you have all these people sort of attacking each other for there should be more things that unite us than divide us, as they say. I don't know, what do you think?
Oh, well, I find that in the it ends up going that way because we've got a binary world within gender, and then when you come into the transgender community, there's another binary again, and everyone expects you to choose a gender. Like I was having a conversation with someone the other day when I was explaining being androgynous, and they said, yeah, but what pronoun do you prefer? And I said, I don't mind if you call me he or she. I'll answer to both. Never he, she, but he or she, and I'll answer to both. And they said, no, but which do you prefer? And I went, same answer as above. I will answer to he or she, so there seems to be a need to pick.
Yeah, so difference even amongst people who are different is challenging.
Yeah, it is.
And causes some friction. There are many subgroups within the trans landscape, e.g. those who do or don't have operations, those who do or don't take hormones, and those who live full-time in their preferred gender versus those who live part-time. Do trans and the wider gay and lesbian community always support each other with these differences?
Oh, well, did you want to say something?
Well, I think not. I just think that some gay, trans or lesbian people, they some of them leave others astray, don't type thing. That's what I've noticed.
So ignore.
Yeah,
you feel ignored by others in the community sometimes.
Yeah, sometimes, yeah.
I think there's not very many venues even for
like that are trans inclusive. I mean, they're like drag queen inclusive, but not so much trans, I find. And it's funny to also remember as well about, you know, our queer history, which is that, you know, it was trans people that started, for instance, Stonewall and things like that. And then it was gays and lesbians that actually was like, let's fight back for our own emancipation, you know. But it was actually people who were, you know, some of the more oppressed within that wider queer community, you know, that were the ones that first fought back against the police. I think we need to remember that, because without that, we wouldn't have all this, would we? You know what I mean? Because, you know, gay and lesbian, they weren't ready, perhaps, or they just didn't have the same compulsion to revolt.
I think we're such a tiny minority, even in the gay and lesbian space.
But still,
and there are stereotypes that aren't appropriate, and so I think that makes it difficult. And I think that maybe some people have had bad experiences with one trans person in their life, and they assume that all trans people are going to be like that. So, what's the range of responses to genderqueer people by people who've transitioned fully?
Well, it's a range. Exactly, it's a range. I think a lot of trans people see aspects of genderqueer as something that they would want to adopt for themselves, and also sometimes it's also sometimes quite divisive. I think, because sometimes they think that genderqueer people are not exactly, they can't adopt the name trans because they're not this or that. They're not accepting the binary. They're just sort of quite whimsical almost, I think. Sometimes is what I've received from trans people, and even just gay and lesbian people and normal people. They're all just like, well, what are you going to be, Arthur or Martha? And it's like, well, do I have to be any? Do I have to be Arthur or Martha? Why can't I be both simultaneously?
It reminds me a little bit about bisexual people and the lack of acceptance that they get, because the talk of like, why don't they make a decision?
Capriciousness.
A lack of acceptance that people should be allowed to identify how they want to, and others should just accept it. Does racism occur within the trans and wider gay and lesbian community?
Yeah, I believe that it does. I've had I've been out one time, and I've had another trans lady call me a racist name, but you know, I left it up. But yeah. I just believe that, we need to work up. And we need to stop this and just be happy.
Be more accepting of differences in the other.
Because we're all pretty cool people, aren't we?
Yeah, we are.
How do Indigenous communities accept people who fall outside the gender binary?
It depends, because there's all different types of tribes and different beliefs and stuff like that. But
do you find acceptance in some places and not others?
Yeah.
There are some very supportive groups.
Yeah, and then
Aboriginal communities.
Yeah, and then there's some that are just
nasty.
Yeah, we'll say that. We'll say nasty.
Yeah. Okay. And how have things changed over time? Is the trans community better to each other than we were in the past, or worse?
I'm a newcomer to everything, and you were saying genderqueer before, and I don't identify as genderqueer. Because my process of I'm new to the community, and I call myself transgender because I'm having a transition from being what I was, very feminine, to being able to express my masculinity in a very overt way, so to the point of where I am seen as a man on the train or something like that, and that's not very confusing for them. But then when I'm looking more androgynous, I get confused looks and stuff, but it is a process for me that I'm going through. I don't go from being really feminine to androgynous and go ta-da. It's taking time, and people are seeing that. My partner is seeing that and going on that journey with me too. But that's definitely trans, not. But I'm pretty open and accepting as well. So I'm not fussed. If you really want to call me genderqueer, that's fine. But I identify more as transgender.
Sorry.
That's okay.
Oh, I think the trans community is has gotten better. I think it has. I think there's more people, there's wider acceptance of it within the heteronormative and also within, you know, the homonormative, I guess. And I really like that. And I think that, of course, there is still the oppression from within the gay community and from without. But I think together there is a sort of sense of solidarity because we're joined, I think, in our difference.
I agree. I do think that things are better, but there's always room for improvement.
Yes.
And hopefully we're having an impact in some shape or form.
It's been a really positive experience for me so far, yeah.
So I'd like to thank Lou, Danii and Millaa for joining us today. I'm Sammy Cameron and on transmission for Bent TV. I look forward to seeing you all next time.